In a tranquil forest, the Buddha sat under a Bodhi tree, surrounded by attentive disciples. A sense of peace filled the air. One disciple, named Ananda, approached the Buddha with concern written across his face. "Master," Ananda began, voice hesitant and measured, "why do some people criticize you despite your teachings of kindness and compassion?" The Buddha opened his eyes, his gaze serene and steady, and turned to address Ananda. "Ananda," he said softly, "imagine a man offering a gift to another. If the recipient refuses it, where does the gift reside?" Ananda pondered the question for a moment before replying. "It remains with the giver." "Master." The Buddha nodded, his gentle smile unwavering. "Precisely. When someone offers criticism or insults, and you do not accept them, to whom do they belong? They remain with the one who gave them," Ananda answered, understanding dawning in his expression. "Correct," the Buddha affirmed. "Words, whether harsh or kind, carry power only when they are received and internalized by the listener." Ananda listened intently, his brow furrowed as he sought to understand the depths of the Buddha's wisdom. The other disciples, drawn by the conversation, leaned closer to hear the master's teachings. The sound of rustling leaves filled the silence. "When a man throws dirt into the wind," the Buddha continued, "it does not dirty the sky but returns to him instead. The act of criticism," the Buddha explained, "reflects the mind of the critic, not the essence of the one criticized. Yashadhara, tools do not create compassion. Intention and awareness shape its existence. The critic may believe they are justified," the Buddha said, "but their anger or envy stems from their own dissatisfaction. Compassion is the antidote," he emphasized, "for the critic suffers more than the one they aim to wound. Their suffering is like a fire that consumes the wood of their peace," the Buddha remarked, his voice calm and measured. Ananda bowed his head, his hands pressed together, deeply moved by the Buddha's teaching. "Master, your words bring clarity to my troubled heart. Remember." "Ananda," the Buddha said, "criticism is a shadow cast by the light of your path. It cannot touch the light itself." The disciples murmured among themselves, sharing their reflections on the profound insight their master had shared. "Master," another disciple, Sariputta, asked, "how should one respond when faced with criticism that feels unfair and unjust?" The Buddha gazed at Sariputta with kindness and replied, "Respond not with anger, but with understanding and humility. When the critic sees no rise in your temper," the Buddha continued, "their anger has no fuel to grow. Speak with gentleness and resolve," the Buddha advised. "Let your words reflect the truth of your heart and your intentions. A peaceful heart is impervious to the arrows of criticism," the Buddha said. "It shields itself with the armor of wisdom." Silence, too, can be a powerful response, the Buddha added. "It speaks louder than words in moments of misunderstanding. The mind that reacts impulsively," the Buddha said, "is like a fire fed by dry grass. It burns uncontrollably. The mind that remains still in the face of criticism," he continued, "is like a calm lake reflecting the sky. Generosity fosters compassion, sharing sustenance not just for the body but also for the soul," Buddha explained with profound insight. Villagers and disciples gathered around, each touched by the shared act of offering and its transformative energy of connection. "The path to peace," the Buddha concluded, "is not through conflict but through understanding and acceptance of all that is. Just as the river flows around the rocks," he said, "we must let words pass without losing our course." Ananda and Sariputta exchanged glances, their earlier doubts now replaced with a newfound clarity and purpose. "Let not the judgment of others sway your heart," the Buddha reminded them. "Your worth lies within." Unshaken by the winds of opinion, the disciples nodded in unison, their respect for the Buddha growing deeper with each word he spoke. Under the shade of a peepal tree, They paused to rest, the rustling leaves echoing their shared silence. Buddha noticed a squirrel gathering nuts, nibbling one before storing others in a hollow tree trunk with measured diligence. Ananda reflected on the lesson as he walked, his steps lightened by the burden lifted from his thoughts. The wisdom of the Buddha resonated in the minds of all who had gathered, leaving an indelible mark on their spirits. The disciples watched the squirrel, its movements graceful and purposeful, embodying simplicity and wisdom in its small acts. Likewise, Buddha said, gesturing to their food, we must eat with awareness, consuming neither too much nor too little. The forest stood silent, bearing witness to teachings as timeless as the stars shining above. Another day, another lesson unfolded beneath the ancient banyan tree in Jetavana Monastery. The lessons shared that day would ripple through the lives of those who heard them. Like waves on a tranquil pond, the Buddha sat in quiet meditation, his presence a reminder of the boundless peace that lies within every heart. In the stillness, the truth of his words lingered, a testament to the transformative power of understanding and compassion. The forest returned to its tranquil state, the echo of the Buddha's voice blending with the gentle rustling of leaves. The disciples knew they had been part of something sacred, a moment that transcended time and space in its significance. Ananda smiled, his heart lighter, knowing that the wisdom of the Buddha would guide him through all trials to come. The teachings of the Master remained like a steady flame, illuminating the path for all who sought its light. The day faded into night, but the lessons learned beneath the Bodhi tree continued to shine within the hearts of the disciples. Thus ended a day of profound learning, a testament to the eternal truths that guide all beings toward peace and enlightenment. Another day, another dawn broke over the monastery, bathing the forest in golden light as disciples gathered for their morning meditation. The air was filled with birdsong, a symphony of life celebrating the beauty of existence. Buddha emerged from his meditation, his presence calm and radiant, drawing disciples toward him like a magnet of serenity. A prominent merchant arrived at the monastery, his face marked by skepticism and doubt, his voice bold and commanding. Buddha, the merchant declared, your teachings are noble, but they are impractical for a world filled with greed and suffering. A young villager approached, offering wild berries to Buddha and his disciples, her gesture embodying generosity and interconnectedness. Buddha accepted the berries with gratitude and said, this act of giving reflects the balance and compassion that sustains humanity. And if the mirror is dirty, clouded by grime, what do you see? Buddha continued, his voice even and measured. The merchant frowned slightly and answered, I see an unclear reflection, distorted by the dirt on the mirror's surface. Buddha nodded, his gaze steady and compassionate. Criticism is like a dirty mirror. It reflects not the truth of its subject but the condition of its source. Words are shadows of the mind that speaks them, Buddha explained, mirroring the inner state of the critic rather than the criticized. Harsh words cannot alter the essence of who you are, Buddha stated. They speak more of the giver than the receiver. Let every choice reflect the principles of truth, simplicity, and presence. Yashodhara stepped forward and bowed. Respond with understanding and compassion, for anger only adds fuel to the fire. Anger is like dry grass, Buddha continued, easily consumed by flames, leaving behind nothing but destruction and ash. But compassion, Buddha said, is like water, quenching the fire, cooling the heat, restoring peace to those it touches. The disciples listened intently, their hearts moved by the simplicity and profundity of their teacher's wisdom. When you absorb criticism without reaction, Buddha stated, you remove its power to harm you, neutralizing its effect like a shield. A quiet mind reflects truth and peace, Buddha said, unchanged by the words that seek to disrupt its stillness. Silence speaks louder than anger, Buddha added. A peaceful response transforms conflict into understanding and opens the door to reconciliation. These children remind us, Buddha said, mindful eating must expand beyond self to serve those who suffer quietly. Yearning for sustenance, Buddha offered his bowl of rice to a child, who accepted it gratefully, her joy illuminating the humble surroundings. What you say carries weight not just to others, Buddha continued, but to yourself, shaping your mind and your heart. The act of criticism, Buddha explained, reveals insecurities, fears, and dissatisfaction within the critic, hidden like seeds buried in soil. Compassion sees beyond the harshness of words, Buddha said, revealing the pain that drives them. Seeking to heal rather than judge, the disciples exchanged glances, their earlier confusion now replaced with a deeper understanding of how to approach criticism with wisdom. To see clearly, Buddha concluded, is to understand the source and the intention behind every word, spoken or unspoken. The merchant looked down. His pride softened, as he began to understand the significance of Buddha's perspective on criticism. Among them, a disciple named Sudanthaka questioned, Master, can we sustain compassion amid life's hardships and endless demands? Buddha replied, compassion thrives when grounded in mindfulness, nurtured by gratitude and shared as a limitless force bridging hearts. He gestured toward the crowded market, teeming with merchants, buyers, and exchanges, symbolizing life's dynamic, interconnected energy. Practice humility and self-reflection, Buddha advised. They are the tools to cultivate understanding and prevent the rise of unjust criticism. Ananda nodded in gratitude, his heart lightened by the wisdom of his teacher, the answers guiding him to clarity. The merchant rose, bowing deeply, his earlier arrogance transformed into respect and appreciation for the truth Buddha had shared. As the day passed, the disciples reflected on the teachings, their minds sharp, their hearts soft, their resolve strengthened. The merchant left the monastery, his steps slower, his demeanor humbler, carrying Buddha's wisdom within him like a newfound treasure. Each disciple carried the lessons like seeds in fertile soil, ready to grow into compassion, understanding, and wisdom. The forest echoed the peace of the monastery, its leaves rustling softly in harmony with the calm that had been restored. In the silence, the Buddha sat in meditation, his presence a reminder of the boundless peace that resides within. The monastery returned to its rhythm, life flowing like the river, continuous and unbroken, guided by the teachings of truth. Under the vast sky, the disciples continued their practice, living each moment with the mindfulness and wisdom their master had imparted. Every word spoken that day became part of a greater tapestry of understanding, a testament to the power of Buddha's teachings. Thus ended another day of learning and transformation, a beacon of light illuminating the path for all who sought its truth. Another day, another lesson awaited in the peaceful monastery, where the disciples gathered by the lotus pond at twilight's arrival. The Buddha walked slowly, his presence calm and radiant, drawing the attention of every soul present in the gathering. The pond reflected the soft hues of the fading sun, its surface still and undisturbed like a quiet mind. The disciples sat in silence, anticipating the wisdom their master would impart as the evening light bathed them in serenity. Yet unease lingered in their hearts, sparked by rumors accusing the Buddha of misleading people with teachings deemed insincere. Ananda, troubled by the accusations, turned to the Buddha and asked, Master, how can we respond to those who spread such untruths about your teachings? Buddha paused, gazing at the lotus pond, and gently reached out to pick a blooming lotus flower. Look at this lotus, he said, holding the flower for all to see. It grows from the mud, and yet it remains untainted. Rising above its origins, The mud nourishes the lotus, Buddha continued, transforming it into a symbol of purity and beauty, an emblem of resilience and growth. His disciples listened intently, captivated by the depth of meaning in his simple gesture and his quiet, thoughtful words. Criticism is like the mud, Buddha explained. It challenges and tests us, but it also nourishes our spirit, urging us to grow. His words carried the weight of truth, filling the air with clarity and purpose, resonating deeply within the hearts of those gathered. Do not see criticism as harm, Buddha said. Instead, embrace it as an opportunity to reflect, refine, and rise above it. The disciples exchanged glances, finding strength in the wisdom their master shared, their earlier doubts fading into the twilight. Like the lotus, Buddha continued, we must remain unshaken by the mud, growing stronger with each challenge that arises. Sariputta bowed deeply, his respect for the Buddha unwavering, and asked, Master, how can we maintain our resolve when criticism feels overwhelming? Buddha gazed at Sariputta with compassion and replied, focus on your purpose, your truth, and let that guide you through the waves of external judgment. Criticism is transient, Buddha said. It passes like clouds across the sky, unable to alter the vastness of your soul. Let not the judgments of others dictate your path, Buddha advised. For your worth lies within, unaffected by fleeting opinions. Stay grounded in wisdom and compassion, Buddha said, and you will find that criticism loses its power to disrupt your peace. The critic speaks from their own pain and confusion, Buddha explained. Do not let their suffering become a burden on your heart. Offer compassion to the critic, Buddha advised. Understand their perspective, and you will soften the sharp edges of their words. Respond to criticism with kindness and humility, Buddha said. These virtues transform conflict into understanding and foster growth in all beings. The disciples nodded, their earlier unease replaced with a quiet determination to embody the teachings of their Master. Master, another disciple asked, what if criticism arises from jealousy or anger, seeking only to harm rather than to challenge constructively? Buddha smiled gently and replied, even then, treat it as mud that nourishes the lotus, strengthening your resolve and deepening your wisdom. Do not let anger or envy sway your heart, Buddha said. Remain calm, and you will find clarity amidst confusion. Criticism born of malice reflects the inner turmoil of the critic, Buddha explained. Not the truth about your character. Refuse to internalize negativity, Buddha advised, and you will remain untainted, like the lotus thriving in its muddy origins. Offer guidance, yet let individuals choose their own steps. He continued, your life of mindful purpose will become the light drawing others out of the shadows of distraction. The disciples bowed deeply, their resolve strengthened by the wisdom shared under the expansive night sky. Buddha's voice grew softer as he concluded. This lotus rises above adversity, Buddha said, and so can we rise above the challenges criticism presents. Transforming it into strength, the forest responded to the calm, its leaves rustling softly, as if nature itself absorbed the wisdom shared by the Master. The disciples felt the weight of the accusations lift from their hearts, replaced with a lightness that came from understanding. Master, Sariputta asked again, how can we inspire others to see criticism as a tool for growth rather than as a source of harm? Buddha regarded Sariputta with a knowing smile and replied, live by example, embodying the principles of compassion and resilience in your daily actions. Let your responses to criticism reflect your inner peace, Buddha said. Others will learn from your conduct and seek to emulate it. Teach by your actions, not just your words, Buddha advised. Show the world that growth is possible even amidst adversity. As the lotus rises from the mud, Buddha said, we too can rise, becoming beacons of hope and wisdom to others. The disciples bowed deeply, their respect for their master evident in the reverence with which they absorbed his teachings. The moonlight began to illuminate the monastery, casting a silver glow over the pond and the gathering of disciples. Buddha sat in meditation, his presence a reminder of the boundless peace that resides within every heart willing to seek it. The disciples carried the lessons with them, ready to face criticism not as harm but as an opportunity to grow and transform. Each word spoken that day became part of a greater tapestry of understanding, a testament to the power of Buddha's teachings. The forest returned to its tranquil rhythm, life continuing unbroken, guided by the truth imparted beneath the Bodhi tree. Ananda smiled, his heart lighter, knowing that the wisdom of the Buddha would guide him through all challenges yet to come. Thus ended another day of profound learning and transformation, a beacon of light illuminating the path for all who sought its truth. Thank you for watching. Buddha's teachings are always with you. Subscribe to our channel and we will see you in the next video.